G'day legends, TJC Sports here. Welcome back to another legendary NRL live stream reaction. Today we're going to be reacting to our second game of the day, fourth one technically, but second game that we will be streaming here. The St. George Illawarra Dragons versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs in the Charity Shield. That's like the Charity Shield. How legendary is that legend? So absolutely hyped for this one here. Historically huge game at this moment. Wonderful timing. Sorry. A little distracted, but it's all good. 5 minutes until kickoff as it stands, legends. We love to go that little bit earlier just to get ready for the games. For the Dragons, as we say the lineups, we have Clint Gutherson leading the side at captain with Christian Tuipulotu and Setu 2 on the wings. David Farley and Moses Sully in the centres. Kyle Flanagan and Daniel Atkinson in the halves. Emre Gula, Damien Cook, and Toby Couchman in the props. Luciano Leilua and Jaden Sewer are the second rowers with Hame Sele at lock. Hamish Stewart, Blake Laurie, Ryan Couchman, and Loco Pacifici Tonga wrap up the rest of that bench today. As for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, we have Matthew Duffy, who recently signed with them from Super League, lining up at fullback, with Bailey Bentley Harpe and Geordie Mazzone on the wings. Latrell Sigwalt and Tolonoa Penatani are in the centres. Don't get him mixed up with Mitchell. It is not Mitchell. Ashton Ward and Jonah Glover are the halves today for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Jonah Glover was actually the second highest point scorer in the New South Wales Cup last year for the Dragons, funnily enough, before the South Sydney Rabbitohs snatched him up. Maybe he can make a difference today for the Bunnies. Celeste Atata and Lachlan Hubner, your props, with Peter Mabazula, or as we call him on the channel, Mamu Spaghetti, with Thomas Fletcher and Max McCarthy in the second row. Bronson Garlick captains the side at lock. That's right. It's the total battle of experiences. Clint Gutherson, captain of the Dragons, former captain of the Parramatta Eels, the one that won that award last year for being such a leader. Over 235 games of experience versus Bronson Garlick. Bronson Garlick, who has a very close same number of 39. What a battle indeed between those two. Who will come up on top? Look, legends, I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty scary how one-sided these lineups look in favor of the Dragons. But one thing we always love to say on the channel is you never know how games can go. Could the South Sydney Rabbitohs pull off a extremely memorable matchup against the St. George Illawarra Dragons? I don't know whether the Rabbitohs knew the Dragons would put up a lineup like this, but I wish that there were a few more seniors in this team. Even so, let's watch Latrell Sigwalt play way better than him. Let's take a look at the chat here. I'm here first. What's up, bro? Hey, Sam. Welcome to the stream, legend. Good to have you here, man. Yo, how good are the Doggies? Insane stuff. I couldn't tell last game if the Doggies were that good or the Knights were that poor. It really could be a bit of both in that one. Sean O'Sullivan is the GOAT with no glaze. How good was he last game? Mate, he is the GOAT. Sean O'Sullivan is like, oh my God, Sean O'Sullivan. We can talk about Sean O'Sullivan all day. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. Every little bit of him. Not too long to kick off now. How are you a Para supporter, TJC? Through family, legend. When I was growing up, my mother supported Para. I was raised by just my mother. She said I could support any team. I decided I wanted to stick with the family team, and I never looked back. I'm a Para fan through and through for life, legend. Loyalty is in the blood. So strange seeing Matt Duffy in a Rabbitohs jersey. Played 94 games in his NRL career, scoring 45 tries and getting 54 assists. I remember his last team I think he played for in the NRL was the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Ooh, pretty good story. Appreciate that, legend. Yeah, I think it's a pretty normal story, right? I mean, it's one of the normal stories if we don't jump on the kind of bandwagonish stories. 37 games in his career. It was for the opposite town rivals, the Cronulla Sharks. Dan Atkinson now lines up at fullback today. He was renowned as a signing the moment he was announced, a highly hyped up Sharks protege. Could be in for a big game today and hopefully a big season ahead. The Dragons need a big halfback, especially after letting a future talent like Jonah Glover, though. If Jonah Glover outdoes Atkinson today, that's not going to look good for the Dragons, is it? Jonah Glover, another player that suffered at the hands of being behind Flano. Anyways, here we go. 3, 2, 1. The Charity Shield for 2026 has officially kicked off. Moses Sully smashes into the line here to take the tackle on the ground there. Sully on the 15. Now round to the left here with Luciano Leilua. Tell me now with a straight face that this isn't a full straight side. Over to Emre Gula now through the middle here. And they're wrapped up neatly on the 30. Backwards pass there. I almost said Ilias. Here we go. Atkinson with his first pass of his Dragons career here. And ends up on the ground. How do you support the Bulldogs, brother? Back round middle here, onto the 40. And it's fifth tackle now. Clint Gufferson takes it. And it's a kick here from the Dragons. They're going to hit it over to the 10-meter line, where it's going to end up in the hands of the Rabbitohs there. Little footsie-toosie there. Bailey gets pushed to the ground there by the Dragons. Couchman wrapping him up neatly. Back to the left now. It's a short pass there over to Latrell Seagwalt here to play like Latrell Mitchell. That's his goal today. He's got to be the best around here. Back around here, the South Sydney Rabbitohs now. Dragons, and that's a good tackle there. Wait, we got a Dragon down. We got a Dragon down already, legends. Early days, but Dragon down, I repeat, Dragon down. Dragon down, Dragon down, oh no, Dragon down. In all seriousness, though, let's hope that he does all right. We're going to put things on hold for a second. Random Barrett man in the crowd again. Great stuff. Oh, he's bleeding from the noggin. Hey, he's got a Ventolin on the sideline. That guy's got a puffer on the outside. I got one of those too. Sick. Oh, damage to the brain. I reckon. Top of the head bleeding. You might want to make Sally go for a checkup, to be honest with you. Make sure he's all right. You never like to see it, especially early days. He seems to be well with it, but like, you got to be careful with head injuries nowadays, and we know how it can impact players in their post careers. We've got the research to back it up, like we have, unlike in the past. With our medical teams, and we don't want another Eli Katoa situation in particular. That was terrible during the off season. I never used to watch you. I don't know why. It was because you were a Para supporter. It was probably because I was a Para supporter, legend, but that's all good, man. Respect to you. And off comes Hame Sele. Respect to him. Everybody give him a big clap as he comes off here. In less than 2 minutes, the Dragons have gone and lost themselves a man in this one. But it's okay. They'll survive. They've got the pressure on them at the moment. Rabbitohs get the ball, though, now. And here they come there. The Rabbitohs will be feeling it there as well, their sympathies. I believe that the coming off a bad injury, he's actually a former Rabbitoh as well. Over to the 20 now. The Dragons. Running through the line now with speed here. And that is a beautiful tackle there. Relentless effort there from the centers. And now over to the left side here with quick speed into it there. They go in. Max McCarthy wrapping him up neatly there. Hubner wraps it. And here we go. It's a good tackle there from the captain of the side. Bronson Garlick there from the Melbourne Storm. Now a South Sydney Rabbitoh. Bronson Garlick, can he give us that garlic sauce for us? Come on, make it happen. Son of Sean Garlick, of course. South Sydney Rabbitohs got to hold the D hard in this one here. A historical matchup. Luciano Leilua picking a bit of a fight with the Rabbitohs. We've got a second head problem potentially. Looks like Jonah Glover this time. Luciano Leilua giving a bit of mouth-to-mouth there with the... Cade Mills in the chat jumps in and says, "Hey, Legend, I'm back to the streams. I'm kind of disappointed as the New Zealand break will miss the NBL players 2 years in a row." I'm sorry to hear that, Legend. I hope that they don't miss it 3 years in a row and make it for you. Genuinely. Sorry to hear that, man. I understand it's never easy when your team misses something 2 years in a row. It's never easy. I mean, Para have missed finals for quite a bit. I don't think they've made finals since 22. So I kind of get it. I understand that feeling, right? The disappointment that they're not going to the next stage. But, you know, you stand by them. It'll happen eventually. You just got to wait for it. Atkinson to Gufferson. Finau down the right here. Not to be confused with the Finau that's now playing for the Raiders, Legends. Clint Gufferson. His leadership knows no bounds, according to the Dragons. As Atkinson with a high kick in the air here. Glover is off for a check-off as Humphreys comes onto the field for the Rabbitohs. Jamie Humphreys, what a cult hero he's become for the South Sydney Rabbitohs in just a year. Oh, be careful, Dufty. You nearly booted Humphreys in the face the moment he came on, man. You can't be too careful in this kind of game. That stuff can happen, Dufty. Show us a bit of your X Factor, bro. I remember you came out of nowhere at times for the Doggies. Over to the right now. South Sydney with their steps and just taking it to the ground here. Anyways, who will score first? Oh, good question there, Legend. Who will score first? Oh, you know what? I'm going to say that you know what? Crazy call. Dragons win it well, but Rabbitohs score first. That's my crazy call for you. In fact, let's put up a poll that might be short-lived, but we're going to put that up for you, and you guys are going to answer it. All right, Bunnies, Dragons. Too easy. All right, feel free to vote on that till the first try happens. We'll see how many of you were correct. St. George Illawarra Dragons. They're on the 30-meter line here. Third tackle. Here's your moment to tip Dragons if you think it's going to be Dragons. If you think it's going to be Dragons, Luciano Leilua all around here, all aboard. Atkinson refusing to be tackled there. Atkinson goes down here. Atkinson takes the tackle. Fourth tackle now. Looking for Couchman. Couchman is bound here. Couchman looks for the offload, but that's good defense from Bronson Garlick, who's captaining the team today there, taking him down there to the ground here. Damien Cook to Flanagan. Kyle Flanagan for the first try of the Charity Shield. He can't get it. He can't get it. Kyle Flanagan, though. How iconic would that have been? And the South Sydney Rabbitohs have held on through a set. Opened up like a packet of biscuits for him there, but he just couldn't eat the biscuits in the tin. His hand was too big. First tackle now for the Rabbitohs, and first penalty for the Rabbitohs. And already we're getting a bit of tongue-in-cheek between the teams here. Cheeky bugger there, Mr. Number 3 for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Penatani just giving a bit of his thoughts to the Dragons there after winning himself a penalty. Luciano Leilua gave them a bit of stink earlier, and it seemed like, if I'm not mistaken, as a non-professional lip reader, that he was saying take that to him. You love it. A bit of heat, a bit of passion, a bit of spark. All it takes is a spark, some additions and subtractions to make things all the better. Down the left here now. It's a good pass over to Lachlan Hubner there, with plenty of NRL experience compared to some of the boys playing today there. And now the Rabbitohs. Mamu Spaghetti finds Humphreys. Humphreys goes over to the right here. It's a good fend off. He's moving. He talked his bull before, Penatani, and now he's made it to the 20. On the 20-meter line now. 2 tackles left here. They're going short. Oh, my God. Absolutely flew in the air there. Oh, he was Superman. Now a short kick in the air. Dufty's going to be tackled. But we need to talk about the number 11 for the South Sydney Rabbitohs there. Thomas Fletcher. Mate, he saw the stars. He saw the heavens. He saw the skies. And he never looked back. He was floating on the clouds until he remembered that he can't. Hang on a second, I can't stand on clouds, and floated right through to the ground now. The Dragons now into the line here and held on the ground. Over to the right here, it's a good pass there from Damien Cook over to Luciano Leilua. Cook appealing for something against the Rabbitohs and not getting it. Gufferson with the backwards pass here. And now rushing forward, now Emre Gula. I'm still getting confused about Emre because of the fact that he's usually got the short hair and looks really generic, but he's got that unique haircut and is actually looking somewhat different now, which makes it tough. One of the few players I know today, Bailey Bentley Harpe, collects the ball and takes the tackle here. Quick run here from Latrell Sewalt, who will take the tackle again. Humphreys looking for service here. The former Manly junior played a good season for them, I'm pretty sure, before, or at least a good couple games for them. Did a good job in them too for Manly before heading off to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. He's never looked fitter since going to the Rabbitohs though, which is ironic considering how the South Sydney Rabbitohs have been with their history of fitness the last few years. Dufty on fifth tackle, held on his own 40 here. The Rabbitohs clearing it in the air now. For those at home that can't see the game, the South Sydney Rabbitohs are attacking from the left towards the right and Dragons from the right to the left. All right, that's how you go with it. And as it stands at the moment, the South Sydney Rabbitohs are on the defense. So they're on the left side, defending from the Dragons, attacking from the right side to the left side. There you go there. Sully, we go to the right here, just fending it forward here. Moses Sully held together by duct tape there on the ground of the South Sydney Rabbitohs here. And now to the right, Atkinson. He could have just opened up something special here for Jaden Sewer, another former bunny. There's a lot of former bunnies here. To Atkinson again here. Beautiful. Gufferson. And Clint Gufferson scores the opening try for the St. George Illawarra Dragons in the Charity Shield. Gufferson 4, Rabbitohs 0. And the captain leads by example. Atkinson linking up perfectly with the former Parramatta Eel. And it is 4-0 to the Dragons in the Charity Shield. And this is a big moment for them. Brilliant run. Atkinson linking up nicely with the boys. And the Rabbitohs just could not chase them down no matter how hard they try. Once you get in a position like that, there's just not too much to be done there. Honestly, I think that a big argument could be that Garlick shouldn't have gone for that tackle that he did, but you can't change the past now. The Rabbitohs have to keep their heads up. On paper, they very clearly don't have a senior of a team. They have to look at how much game experience players like Clint Gufferson that are playing in this game have and think to themselves how to move on from it, all right? They've got to dig deep into themselves. This is a big game for those young kids to show what they can do. Don't let this one try stop here. Guffer is a player with, I think it's nearly 200 games experience. You know, you gotta take that into account when you're thinking too hard about conceding that try there. Lift your heads up as a junior institution. Kyle Flanagan now from the sideline. 32 out of 42 goals in 2025. He only missed 10. I think some of them were versus Para. Kyle Flanagan from the sideline to make it 6-0 to the St. George Illawarra Dragons in this thrilling contest. And he slots it. He slots it in. Kyle Flanagan, the daddy's boy himself. And it's 6-0. Daddy's boy plus King equals Dragons lead by 6. So I hope the Dragons win to make me a little better for the teams I put up to this point 2-year drought for BNZ Breakers. Fair enough, Cade. Fair enough, legend. Fair enough. Entitled to yourself. And looking at the poll that we're going to end now, the South Sydney Rabbitohs have not scored. The 38% of you that tips the Dragons to score first, congratulations. You are the ones that got it correct here. Now let's change this to who is winning. Boom. Rabbitohs. Dragons. All right, there we go. All right, new poll up for you. All right, St. George Illawarra Dragons. Through the middle here now. 11 minutes gone by in the Charity Shield so far in this one here. Clint Gufferson, he scored the first try and the only try of the Shield so far. Takes a tackle. 5th tackle now. 49 metres gained here. We kick it through the middle now. And on the 5, it's going to end up in the hands of his winger here. Moving forward, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I went for Dragons on the poll. Yeah, well, most people got it incorrect on the poll. But yeah, Dragons. Dragons score first, and it's 6-0. South Sydney Rabbitohs are going to have to dig deep in this one here. Look, if there's any game to dig deep to this level where the names on paper shouldn't impact how hard you can fight for something, a result, it should be something like the Shield, engraved with history. Now through to the right here. Just looking for the pass. The South Sydney Rabbitohs could not find it here. Now on 5th tackle. Mamu Spaghetti goes over to our boy in the halfback role, Jamie Humphreys. And Humphreys now, with the high kick, it ends up in the hands of the Dragons again here. Finau now for the Dragons. Could we have 2 Finau's on the try-scoring sheet in 2 days, potentially? Now around the middle here, and it's a high throw there. Gets over to Gufferson here. Plenty of offloads from the Dragons. Down to the left now. Tuapolotu just moving forward now. And Tuapolotu takes the tackle. Moses Sully. Nope. Luciano Leilua's time to shine now. Luciano Leilua takes the tackle now. If you're enjoying the stream so far, remember, subscribing makes your team more likely to win. So consider hitting that if you haven't yet. St. George Illawarra Dragons, that could have been considered a knock-on, but it went backwards apparently. Damien Cook collects 4th tackle now, and with a speedy run there, we've had a few changes from the Dragons. Now at number 14, playing in the team now, it is officially Hamish Stewart. I love your vids, bro. Appreciate it, Sam, very much so. Atkinson around Sewer. That's a forward pass if I've ever seen one. And the Dragons, despite all the pressure on them, will be leaving this set with no points to their name. It is 6-0 still as it stands. But Atkinson has looked like an improvement for the Dragons. Genuinely so. And there we done have it. South Sydney Rabbitohs celebrate with glee as they've managed to avoid something. Right on, Boke. I was just posting a TikTok. All good, Renakama. Good to have you back in the stream, legend. I hope you've had an amazing night so far. Shout out to the players that we could see tonight based on the reserves, because usually those players come in at some point. You've got Tyrell Sloan, Matthew Fiangi, King Tongia, Jacob Halago, Cade Reid, Hayden Bunchman, Nick Sugaris, Ryan Hutchinson, Joseph O'Neill, Oliver Laurie, Toa Afualo, Jay Kirk, Tim Johansson, John Radel, Matthew Humphreys. We could have 2 Humphreys in one game, legends. Appreciate it, though, Sam, very much. And here we go. Penalty for being inside the 10 metres, it looks like, in favour of, based on Kyle Flanagan holding it, it looks like the Dragons have got themselves a penalty for the Rabbitohs being inside 10 metres. Huge call there. Dragons right in front of that try line here. I could see another try coming up for them. St. George Illawarra Dragons. Moses Sully down to the right. Damien Cook. Cook up with it here. Hamish Stewart into the line. Stewart held in front of that try line just about here. Damien Cook backwards from Flanagan. This is like a jigsaw puzzle, but the puzzle just has those pieces that don't quite fit right for some reason. Jaden Sewer was just that then. Short from, goes over to Emre Gula. Emre Gula now takes the tackle here. The former Canberra Raider on 4th tackle now. 2 left in the set here. 25 minutes to go in this one. And it's 6 again for a ruck infringement. But will they need it if he can score here? Unable to. The St. George Illawarra Dragons carry on. No try for Couchman. Kyle Flanagan to Atkinson, and they completely bowled it out of the field. He was closer to heading over to Jupiter than he was to head it over to his teammate. The Clouds themselves were ready to catch that one. Or should I say the Ants themselves was rolling right against the ground there. Wasn't exactly high, just a complete bowling ball of a throw. Tough stuff. You run the risk when you do quick passes like that sometimes. It's just set plays, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it didn't work out there for them. Dragons now back on the defense here as the South Sydney Rabbitohs run over to the right here and get pushed to the ground. Gets it short now. Moving forward here for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, Max McCarthy now. Max McCarthy takes the tackle here as we go to Humphreys, to Dufty. Dufty over to the left here. Will Dragons make it 10-0? Quite possibly, Legend. Probably. Knowing your luck with your comments, probably. But the South Sydney Rabbitohs have the next best chance for now. Fifth tackle now. Rabbitohs kick it in the air now. Over to the right here. Dragons, plenty of pressure on them potentially for something big in this one. But Humphreys couldn't get there. The Dragons get it neatly here. First tackle now. Honestly, credit where it's due to the Bunnies. I'm surprised it's only 6-0 by this point. Based on the teams that have been named, good stuff from them all around here. The Dragons really should be winning by more in this one. Though, of course, you know, it being the Charity Shield, you lift up that little bit more. It probably plays a factor. I highly doubt the Dragons also know too well how these players play. It's probably a little new to them. Damien Cook gets a good pass off to himself and runs the ball, something he used to do for the South Sydney Rabbitohs all the time. Here we go, Gufferson. Back over to Sewer. Sewer finds his way to the wing here. The wing stepping around now, grabbed by Collar down on the ground here. Just one more tackle left in this set. They gain just 45 meters in that one as they kick it high in the air. There's a lot of chase on this side. Have to be careful of Dufty, and he manages to get it. So much pressure on him, and Kyle Flanagan will do the tackle now. And oh no, Flanagan didn't time it right at all, and the referee's blown for a penalty. Oh, and it's not usually that we see Dufty on the receiving end of that. Usually he's the one giving the penalties out, or at least from my memory of him. In front of the kicker, Kyle Flanagan, Legends. Couldn't sit behind anybody. Has to be in front all the time. Probably orders from Shane. And here we go, taking the penalty. They'll be 45 meters away from their own try line. And on the halfway line, 50 meters from the try scoring line that they need to get over against the Dragons. Now we've got our boy Mamu Spaghetti going over to Sean Kepi, who I'm sure Hakeem Haas is extremely excited to be playing with. Over to the left now. Ash with the side steps now, the 5'8". Could we have a future partnership in the halves of Ash and Jonah Glover for the South Sydney Rabbitohs coming up after Jonah was snatched from the Dragons? Now to the right here, Sean Kepi. Kepi with speed now, and Sean Kepi goes down here. Mamu goes over to the left now. Dufty. I think Dufty really wants to try the former St. George Illawarra Dragon. He knows what it's like to be a Dragon. Played a while there. Humphreys. Over to Sean Kepi. With speed now, Sean Kepi. There's so much pressure on the Dragons now. South Sydney Rabbitohs. Over to the right. Bronson Garlic, Ash, it's a tap and go. To the right, is he going to pass? He's going to go alone! And it's a try! And the rivalry between Luciano Leilua and the young South Sydney Rabbitohs centre, Talanoa Penatani, has just headed its way. It's been lit ablaze. The spark is real. Additioning. All right, this is a game of addition and subtraction. Mathematics all around. The addition is a try for the young number 3. And the subtraction is the Dragons' lead, which is minus 4 points now. And with the kick to come, this is a huge moment for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And with 20 minutes on the clock, the Dragons have been a bit lackluster. Probably could have passed it over to his wing, Jordy Mazzone, but you know what? That works just as well going for the try yourself, man, when it opens up like that. Nearly split his ear to do it, but he bagged it. Dragons did the opposite. They could not hold them out this set, Legend. They just could not. They tried their best, but it was just an impossible task, an impossible feat. Now let's wait for the kick here, Legends. Could we see the South Sydney Rabbitohs equalising all square with the St. George Illawarra Dragons in the Shield here? Such a massive game. Tiana Panatini on the sideline talking about her pride for the try scorer today. Yes, there is a relation between the Panatanis. Believe it or not, it's not a crazy common last name. 6 all will it be? Takes the kick, and he's got it. He's got it. He's got it. It is 6 all. We are all square in this affair. The Rabbitohs kids are fighting over the Dragons kid. Well, the Dragons full-grown adults. I mean, their captain might as well be walking on a cane. You know, completely different dynamics here between the two, but the kids don't care. They're going to be like the cool kids all around the playground that do cool things and get the job done. Now it's just about, can the South Sydney Rabbitohs keep the pressure up here against the Dragons? The away side manages to get themselves back into it. Less than half of the first half to go now. We're a quarter of the way through it all here. The South Sydney Rabbitohs with a huge run into the line there. Take a bow, son. Take a bow. Sean Keppie, ladies and gents, capable of a big hit in these kinds of games. Then to the right, and oh no, right as you hype them up, they always make a mistake. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, and now Atkinson with the pass over to him here. He takes the tackle. Rabbitohs back on the defense almost immediately after scoring a try here. And at 6 all, they're going to have to hold on. They don't want to be conceding here. Tackle 0. Now over to the left here. Kyle Flanagan down the middle. He does a simple set play to Couchman now, who gets ankle grabs there. Good stuff. Cook with the service, some of the best in our game. To Gufferson, to Sewer, who takes them on like a bullet there. He's a train going into the mountain. And now over to the left here, Flanagan, Luciano Leilua, Gufferson. Gufferson holds the ball there on 4th tackle now. And Damien Cook runs in alone, and Damien Cook against his former team bangs the Dragons their lead again, and it's a reclaim of it all. He came in, he conquered, and then he lost it before conquering it again. It's the second attack. He's done it. Damien Cook. And the Rabbitohs don't know what to think. So quick off his line. He was at least a good 5 meters away. And to be unable to stop him, that just shows you how fast he is. Look at this. 1, 2, and he is pretty much in front of them. And then just does a spin. Dufty, been a bit since he's been in the NRL and can't quite get there. And you have to argue with momentum that Cookie got over there. Look, there's probably people that would argue, did he double movement when he lifted his arm up after? But I highly doubt they're going to do anything with that. There'll be a try. 10-6 to the Dragons now. None to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. 6 points. They need another now. Just after they gave themselves so much hope, they fall with it. Geez, the poll changed really quickly, didn't it? 67% of you still think the Rabbitohs are going to win this one as it stands at the moment. Look, I hope the Rabbitohs win, but as it stands right now, I find it hard not to see the Dragons winning this one. Kyle Flanagan here takes the kick, and that's a really easy kick. There's not even a point to hype him up with that one. It is now 12-6 now. And on the bright side, neither of you have failed to score a try like Knights. That Knights game was a pitiful performance from the Knights. What wasn't a pitiful performance, though? This try from none other than Damien Cook, ladies and gentlemen. Damien Cook absolutely rolling over with that one. All over it. He's all over it. Getting the job done. And here we go. Sewer back into the line here. We kick off again now. Over through the middle. Emre Gula takes the tackle here. Onto the second now. Christian Tuapolotu with his hair all banded up, so it looks a little bit different now this time. Cookie, watch his runs. If you're careful, Rabbitohs, watch his runs. They're the dangerous ones to look out for. Yes, Dragons retake the lead 10-6. Yes, they do, Cade. Almost around here. Hamish Stewart. Stewart lifted up with it past the 40. Dragons. St. George Illawarra Dragons, to be exact, because they're not the OG. Over to Gufferson. Clint Gufferson with the ball here. Gufferson around. Exactly. Knights couldn't even score a point. At least they could do that. Sewer. And now we got a clearance from Ilias over to the middle here. And on the 10-meter line, the Rabbitohs get it. Dufty now. Dufty! Through he goes. And that took some huge defensive effort there from Sully and Luciano Leilua to stop him now. And now with a step and go here, the Rabbitohs carry on with it. 15 minutes left in the first half, still Legends. And they smash forward now here. Into the ground there goes the South Sydney Rabbitohs. It was a good effort there from Geordie Mazzone. And then Mazzone, we go off to Ashton Ward. Ashton Ward finds the pass over to Liam LeBlanc there. Liam LeBlanc. And now a good one again here. Humphreys, move it, Humphreys. Here we go. Back around. And number 19, John Radel is on the field now. Radel takes it. Kicks it in the air now and ends up with Tuapolotu. Much easier to remember the names with the Dragons because it's pretty much just last year's team with a couple of exceptions. Almost around with Dragons. Past the 10-meter line again here. Second tackle. Bit of bing back and forth here in this one. Flopping like a dead fish there. The Dragons on the foul here. Third tackle, 50% of the way through the set here. They keep getting pushed back now. Cook to the left here. Sewer stepping up with it. Back around. Gufferson. Clint Gufferson completely breaks through their try line and passes to Atkinson, who's going to then pass to Cook. And Damien Cook. Oh my goodness. Cook has dropped an absolute golden opportunity. That was a gutter of a play. And Damien Cook, making the Rabbitohs relief they let him go with a catch like that. It was good service from Atkinson and Cook with a simple error. The Rabbitohs get a get-out-of-jail-free card there. Taking the tackle now. Over to the right here. Now to the right. Short Kepi finds it backwards here over to Bronson Garlick now, and Garlick takes the tackle. How did Cook stuff that up? I don't know. I don't know how Cook stuffed that up, man. Damien Cook, bro. He's got speed, but he clearly doesn't have catching, Legends. Like, what are they doing with that? And how are they doing it? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. High kick in the air here. Rabbitohs, plenty of chase on it. Once again, Dragons go bing, bing, bada, boom, man. Catch it. Awooga. Dragons now down the middle. Clint Gufferson. Over to Tuapolotu here. Tuapolotu, 15 meters out now. Just going to move this desk closer to me because it's got a funky wheel and I keep pushing it too far forward. South Sydney Rabbitohs back on the defense here. Over to the right, Kyle Flanagan. And that's a really very poor pass to Atkinson. And Atkinson knocks the ball out of here. And it's actually going to be a knock on. The South Sydney Rabbitohs are going to get the ball from the 30-meter line on Dragons' end. And this is nightmare stuff for the Dragons, who only maintain a converted try lead. Can they do what would have been deemed based on team list impossible, the South Sydney Rabbitohs? Sean Kepi feeling his neck and the penalty has been blown there. The South Sydney Rabbitohs won't be allowed to run with it, but they do get the penalty. Lucky for them. Yeah, Flanagan's on the field, Legend. Kyle Flanagan. The Dragons are pretty much playing a full-strength team. No, but the guy that messed up the catch earlier was Damien Cook from a pass from Atkinson. Over to the left, Mummy Spaghetti gets it over to Ash here. Ash to the left now with a good pass. Almost around here. And oh no, they mess it up. And Atkinson manages to regather there right as hope was there for them to score. Dragons were inches away. Well, now they could be inches away in a moment because they've just been given a penalty against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Seriously, considering the team difference, credit to the Rabbitohs, this game should be a very different scoreline based on the lineups. Seriously, it should be. It should be. The Rabbitohs have done an incredible job here. But, credit where it's due. The winner takes it all, and the Dragons are the winner at the moment. Liam LeBlanc goes on report for that as well. Clint Gufferson having a talk with the trainer. Wonder what they're talking about. Dragons take the tackle. Imagine half the Dragons team gets injured here. If they did, I would absolutely laugh my ass off. No. We don't wish injury on anyone. Okay? But I'm sure Rabbitohs wouldn't mind if a player or two got injured just for this game and no other game, right? I'm sure you wouldn't mind that, some of yous. Damien Cook on the third tackle. Over to Flanagan. Flanagan finds Sewer. Sewer finds Cook. Damien Cook. He doesn't knock that one on. He knocked the last one on that was an absolute sitter, but he won't knock that one on. And on they go here. Cook. Over to the right here. It's a good pass to Hamish Stewart, the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Little utility there. Forward, hooker, whatever you want from him. He will play that position for you. He'll play it well here. High kick in the air from the Dragons now. And they've got it. Unfortunately for them, it looks like it's gone out of play in a dog's breakfast of a effort to collect it. There we go. And now it's going to go back to the South Sydney Rabbitohs here who hold on in the defense. Humphreys. Over to the right now. If you're enjoying the stream, remember to hit that like button and subscribe, legends, as we continue to chase 6K and to keep seeing the legendary content here on the channel. It only gets better the more people that follow. Round the middle now. Humphreys finds his way over to the young number 20 here, Tim Johansson, who goes down to the ground here. Tim Johansson taken down. Looking both ways, Peter Mamu Spaghetti. Definitely a player that can put in a good service when he needs to from time to time. Long kick here from the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and Gufferson carefully waits but leaves it to go out here against what the South Sydney Rabbitohs would have wanted. I think they just kicked it hoping for something. Honestly, it got pretty close to being a 40-20, to be honest. Completely caught off guard there. And Clint Gufferson now from the 20 here to take the kick. Over to the right now. And it's a good run into the line there from the Dragons there. Setu 2 taking the hit. Now to Damien Cook. Cook up with it here. Setu 2. We find the offload to Clint Gufferson. Clint Gufferson with speed. Gufferson finds Couchman. Couchman through the line here. Damien Cook. It's important their forward pack does well after losing players such as Jack DeBellin, who they let go. Blake Laurie is officially on the field, and that is a huge hit on Blake Laurie as he gets to the halfway line here. On the way around, Liam Eaps says, I miss Guffo. Fair enough, legend. Fair enough. He was a favourite when he was at the club. Considering last year with our injuries, we didn't do bad. You did get a lot of injuries last year, but you've gotten quite a few injuries the last couple years. So you got to work on that for this year if you don't want to be finishing outside of finals. Over to the left here, South Sydney Rabbitohs. Honestly, if the Rabbitohs can score again, mate, I might just have to throw in the towel on my tipping if the Rabbitohs can score again. Humphreys finds his way over to Geordie Mazzone there, and Geordie Mazzone takes the tackle. Background middle here. They just keep looking to try and get with it. Try and get it to Alata. See what he does. High kick from Ash here. 32 metres gained, and on the right, it ends on the 10-metre line for the Dragons here. Just 6 minutes to go in the first half. Gufferson down the left edge here. To Sully. Sully moving around here. Sully through the line now. Sully going forward. You know, if Parra didn't have Mitchell injured all the time, Mitchell would be in final. We'd be in finals too by now at one point. On the 40-metre line now. Damien Cook gets it over to Couchman here. Short pass there, and the Rabbitohs will get a play on after collecting the ball on the halfway line here. Quick speed from them here. They've got 5.5 minutes to score an equaliser before it's the second half and halftime, of course. But, second half where they'll have the chance to do it again. Though I'll tell you now, being all square at halftime when you've been such an underdog is much better than being behind at halftime. Dufty moves forward now. Dufty on his way here. Dufty goes forward with it. Dufty keeps going. Dufty. And now on the ground there for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Just sorting this out here, legends. Moving forward. 1 second, legends. And of course, South Sydney Rabbitohs potentially with the equaliser there, legends. That's what needed to happen. I needed to go for a few seconds so that they could score. And it's a try for, it looks like, Matthew Dufty on his return to the NRL. South Sydney Rabbitohs number 1, former Dragons number 1. Slotting it in here for it. And there we go. It is 12-10 with a kick to come here. Could we have the equaliser on our hands? Just scored there. And 12-10. Sorry, guys. My desk just got attacked.
I'm sorry.
Just trying to stream. I'll unplug this so that makes it easier.
Yeah,
but just
cool.
please, yeah, thank you. Snooze versus the neutral. I don't know, man. 12 all in a second, and it's the kids playing the Dragons. I'm pretty hyped actually about this one personally. Absolutely massive moment there for Dufty. Who will score next? Honestly, with the rate this game's going, it'll be Dragons, Rabbitohs, Dragons, Rabbitohs, Dragons, Rabbitohs until someone gets a field goal or something. At this rate, Matthew Dufty. Officially, 94 games, 45 tries. Honestly, almost forgot he existed till he signed with Rabbitohs after his time at the Dogs. Former Dragon, all that good stuff. Solid all-round fullback. Oh, I'll tell you what. With that replay, he nearly knocks it onto the Dragon's leg. In fact, Clint Gutherson hasn't stopped telling the referee that he knocked it onto his leg. But the try has been confirmed by the bunker despite Clint Gutherson's protests. Guffo unable to be the referee whisperer today. To be fair, he wasn't very good at it at Para either. And there we go with the field goal. They got it. They got the goal kick. It is 12-all. The Rabbitohs are doing it. And who said that you can't win with kids? Who said you can't do it? Dufty with a small grubber into the Dragons lineup does it. I thought he dropped it, says South Dude. Well, the bunker thinks differently, legend. And honestly, it doesn't matter if he dropped it as long as he regathered it without it coming into contact with the Dragons players, as the rule stands. So even if he did lose possession, in the unlikely event that it doesn't impact a Dragons player, they actually don't care if he loses it for a second. It's about regathering and control, which he clearly had apparently, and he slots it in. I think Moses wasn't injured. Not only finals, you think we'd make the grand final if Moses wasn't injured the whole season. Honestly, heck yeah. South Sydney Rabbitohs now down to the left side here. Dragons holding them off. Goes over to Sean Kepi. Really tied up. Come on, mate. 12 all is exciting for me. I don't care. Kids to the right now. They go. Number 24. Moving forward with it here. Ash kicks it in the air. High ball this one. It's a good chase. And Gutherson almost gets caught out, but he's so posed in that situation. With the team Souths are playing, I thought the Dragons would be up but a bit more. I thought so too, Jeddykin. I thought so too. In fact, I think 90% of people that you ask heading into this one that aren't the one-eyed Souths fans would probably think the same thing heading into this one, that it would most likely be a one-sided affair to the Dragons. But you know what? That's the magical thing about rivalry games and games that are historical, with historical relevancies. Absolutely insane stuff. I've just got to say, who needs Latrell Mitchell when you've got Latrell Seagwalt and Talamona Patani? Absolutely incredible stuff. Be a bit worried of our Dragons, but me too, Jetty Kim. This is not a good sign if the kids are beating them like this. Well, they're not beating them, but the fact that they're staying in the game while players like Gufo are clearly trying says a lot. It says a lot, genuinely. And Humphreys now. Over to the left here. 40 seconds and we'll be wrapped up with the first half here. Over to the middle now. Nearly to the 30 here. Mummy Spaghetti held on the ground. One more. Hits it in the air. 52 meters gain. Probably their last chance to score this half. And nearly a knock on from the Dragons, but it goes backwards and Guffo doesn't waste any time in running it here. Gutherson goes to the ground. If you lose to a bunch of New South Wales Cup players, then you know it's time to get out of the NRL. Well, it's not all on Guffo. I'll be devil's advocate there. But like, the Dragons overall shouldn't be too happy with how they've performed in this first half, considering. St. George Illawarra Dragons, one more tackle, and they don't play the ball quick enough. And it will be 12-all at halftime. South Sydney Rabbitohs just chasing back too much for the Dragons to be able to maintain. Where the Dragons can hold their head up high is that they're the only team to lead so far in this game. But the South Sydney Rabbitohs have been chasing them very closely for an extended period in this game here. And you got to wonder if the South Sydney Rabbitohs just might be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, no pun intended, potentially in this one. And with that, it's time for the TJC Sports Halftime Show with your host, TJC Sports. Chill point of the stream where we chat amongst ourselves, talk about the game, all that good stuff. You know, literally the part where I can be quiet if I need to. We just relax for this halftime point. Can Dragons score on the buzzer? No, because, well, they can score on the buzzer in the second half, but not the first half. They can't score on the buzzer in the first half, Legend, of course, because it's just finished up. But second half, yeah, they probably can for a winner, potentially in this one here. Shout out to the Rabbitohs. They should have never had a chance in this one. 12-all at halftime. It's not bad at all, Cade. It's a good contest between them, 100%. It's actually really good to see such a good contest going on between them. You know, Wayne Bennett, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like Wayne Bennett definitely... I don't think Bennett really minds if they win this game, to be honest with you, based on what he's picked for his lineups. But I'm sure he'll be impressed with how some of the kids have played today for signs for the future, that he's got options if he needs them in the NRL. We might see some... You know what? With the injury history that the Rabbitohs have had the last couple of years, it wouldn't shock me if they actually had some of these guys need to fill in at some point with the bare bones level they get to at times. Like, who knows? Maybe Latrell Seagwalt will be replacing Latrell. At one point, you got to earn your spot, eh, legends? Good depths is Jedikin. Exactly. If this is the team, all right, and they play, like, if this is a sign, right? Let's go into this magical world where what if the Dragons aren't horrible, right? This magical world, okay? And the South Sydney Rabbitohs juniors are just that good. That's the first team in itself. Playing in their juniors. Great build-up for the Rabbitohs. And you go, how are they not making the first team? Well, it's because the first team have a forward pack of David Fafita and Payne Haas coming up, even though that's not this year, but still. Just saying. Payne Haas and Fafita in a halves combo with Cameron Murray and Jai Arrow and the GOAT Sean Keppie. You know, like absolutely incredible stuff all around from them. And then they've got these guys coming through the back here. McCarthy's looked all right. Bronson Garlick's been decent as well today. Simple stuff. Hubner's your simple kind of forward. Marmazillas is not a bad hooker. He just, yeah, but he's a pretty good hooker, Marmazillas. Jonah Glover, again, you know, we mentioned it before the game, but came from the Dragons, let go, was allowed to leave when it became clear he wasn't going to be able to take a half spot at the Dragons because they wanted to maintain Kyle Flanagan and the other half, which they're still a bit random about. but they're committed to being Atkinson. Jonah Glover, second highest point scorer in the New South Wales Cup last year for the Dragons. Now at the Rabbitohs. And all square with them at halftime. He hasn't exactly showed them what's what, but he also hasn't proven them right either for letting him go. So, let's skip it back to 16 years when the Dragons won the comp and the Dragons would still lose to 20. The Tigers would still lose. the Tigers, man. Look, the Tigers are an interesting team. If you lose to the Tigers, the signs are that you're a good team. If you lose to the Tigers are like the new power in that way. They'll beat the good teams. They're going to lose to the poor team and be a bit inconsistent and finish Temple 9th because of it. Unfortunately for them. Genuinely impressed, though. I did not think this would be as good of a contest as it is. I am astonished heading into this one here. And funnily enough, they've played so well that the Rabbitohs are actually winning the poll 57% to 43% on who's going to win here. Seriously. I just want the second half to start already because of that. I want to get on with it. I want to see bloody a aged-up, crippled Matt Duffy show how much better he is than Guffo on the field somehow. You know, I want Jonah Glover, who wasn't going to be able to make the halves, to completely outdo Flatto and Atkinson. You know, I want Marmazillas to show Damien Cook how it's done, how you treat the Rabbitohs jersey. Still feels wrong seeing Damien Cook in a Dragon shirt, but you know, I know before people jump in with that, I know that Damien Cook started his career as a Dragon, but nobody remembers that because it was so forgettable. You know, it's just not right. The Rabbitohs was right on him. You know, people also forget that he scored for the Dogs too at one point. He was a Dragon, a Bulldog, now a Rabbitoh. But there's a reason we only remember him as the Bunny. Because the idea of Damien Cook as a doggy is an insane idea. Gutters on get stepped by one row in round 25. Yeah, people forget that. Damien Cook was a three different club player. You know, people forget a lot of things. People forget that the Cowboys let go of a junior system that had Kalen Ponga come through, Billy Army Kickow come through, Brandon Smith come through, among others. You know, people forget that people don't know some of the players Para could have had at one point. Scary. One of them is Roosters' his all-timer, Daniel Tupou. Wonderful stuff there. I reckon they've let go of a few other stars in the past too, even recent past. You just wait on it. I forgot to... Yeah, and Tedesco and Moses played for Tigers. Yeah, there was a lineup one time that had Pappenhausen, Tedesco, Moses, Luke Brooks. We've got to throw Luke Brooks in there for a mention. All on the one side. People forget Harry Grant. You know, his big break in the NRL was his loan move, which was historic to the West Tigers. Not a very common thing, a loan move in our game. It's not common in the NRL. It's very common in things like the soccer. Not common in the NRL. But it was a successful loan, actually, as well, at the Tigers. He arguably is the only reason they fought for finals. He was the player every game, over 100 points in Supercoach, absolutely stirring the pot to the point that he essentially forced Cameron Smith to retire because Cameron Smith the Storm were told by Harry Grant he'll stay at the Tigers if they don't have him as a starter the next year. So what happened with that? Cameron Smith hung up the boots, winning the 2020 premiership, and Brandon Smith and Harry Grant as a hooker duo was born. Then Brandon Smith had his mess. He went to the Roosters. Now he's at the Rabbitohs. And Harry Grant's the best hooker in the comp, arguably, and all that stuff. And the Queensland hooker. And the only reason people forgot Cook's first Dragons rode as Dogs rode is because the Rabbitohs was the only relevant part of his career. Yeah, true. Rabbitohs is the relevant part. We don't talk about the other parts. Honestly, you could argue that his time now at the Dragons is kind of irrelevant. but also not, because who knows? He's probably a bridge for something better for them. But, ultimately, his best years are behind him when it comes to being a peak level player at a team that's challenging for premierships. I think the last I saw of a really good Damien Cook was the grand final between the Rabbitohs and the Panthers, where it was a poor pass from Cody Walker that was completely intercepted by, I think it was Critter or something, to run over for a try to win the Panthers the grand final with that. One of many lucky moments that won Panthers a 4-peat. Absolutely insane stuff. Probably not to be replicated again, but hey, who knows? Para 5P on the way. Absolutely just shut it down for them. Can never have enough. Honestly, people forget a few runs just because of it's irrelevant, gee, thanks, Panthers. You couldn't give us from your junior system Kryson, could you? But what could you give us? Wonga, Blake, and Micah Sevo. People forget sometimes the juniors and where they come from and who they could have played for. Honestly, crazy. Tigers would have the most insane backline if they could maintain their players. It's not their fault, but if they could, they would have an insane team. And then the year after that, they dominated Para in the 22 grand final. Exactly, Legend. I'd argue, though, their performance in the 22 grand final was much better. 22 was probably their best win of all the grand finals. 22, I feel like 22 for me is what I look at as the peak team of the dynasty that they had for the 4-peat, for me personally. For me, 22 was the big one there for them, Legends. The other grand finals, they did great. And look, the Broncos game was huge, but I don't view that as a Panthers performance. I view that as a Cleary performance, the Broncos one. That Broncos one, Nathan Cleary just had a moment where he went click. He linked up with Jack Cogger, who's recently signed back with them from the Knights after leaving them for the Knights since. And they just clicked it. I hate to say it, but while Luai's a better 5'8", it actually, I think, won them the grand final to change where Luai came off the field. And that's where they got themselves that 3-peat. And then, of course, the 4-peat with their one versus the Storm. They were arguably kind of lucky with the Storm one. The Storm played really good in that one as well, actually, to be honest with you. But yeah, 22 is the peak for me when it comes to Panthers as a team performance. That's the best they did. 23 was the Cleary show. The Cleary show. Alrighty, Legends. Who are you going for, Rabbitohs or Dragons in the second half? Not going for anyone personally, Legend, but I'd rather the Rabbitohs win between the two. Celebrations. Celebrate good times. Come on. Time to celebrate. One try, one tackle bust, a lot of ones for Matt Duffy, but the only one he'll care about is his team coming number one. Anyways, time to wrap up the halftime show and say hello to the second half of our final stream of the night here. And our final stream before Para play tomorrow. Let's go. Can't wait for that 6 o'clock kickoff. We'll be live for that game there, fully supporting the Eels in that one because I don't try to pretend that I'm not going for Para in Para games. All right, and here we go. South Sydney Rabbitohs and Dragons is underway for the second half of the Charity Shield. Taking the kick. The Rabbitohs receive the ball on the second tackle now. They hit the 20-metre line before going down. My Broncos friends were crying after the 23 grand final. They showed me pictures of this. Look, mate, to be fair, I think what scared me at the Broncos grand final was that most Broncos fans were celebrating. They literally should have won it. If Cleary doesn't put up one of the greatest grand final performances of all time, one of, I must say. I think it has since been beaten by Reece Walsh in the 2025 grand final. But it is one of the, I'd argue it's the best 10, 15 minute period ever. But still, like, one of the best performances ever. If Nathan Cleary doesn't do that, Broncos do not lose that and have 2 premierships inside the last 3 years. But it wasn't meant to be for them, unfortunately. Para and Titans fans are the most loyal fans. That's true, so true, South do. Teams with supporter bases that just don't know success unless you're of a certain age. Over by here, you got to be practically ancient to remember good times for either team. Dragons on their way through the line here. Am I the only one that hates when players complain? No, I do too, Legend. The only time that I like it is when they have a legitimate reason. And oh no, the Dragons! The Dragons with an error! The South Sydney Rabbitohs are going to get the ball back here as Clint Gutherson has been substituted to the bench by the Dragons. And an unfortunate error there from the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Number 18, Tyrell Sloan. He's only been on the field for 2 minutes and he's knocked the ball on 2 centimetres forward. Errors since the 25th minute. Of the last 6 errors, only one of them has been the Buddies. Telling stuff. South Sydney Rabbitohs on first tackle. Over to left through the middle. The ref is just trying to do his job. Exactly. Alrighty, Legends. Let's see who scores in the second half. Probably a couple tries coming up in this one here. Down to the left here. Dragons don't exactly scream best defense this year, based on what I've seen. Almost around here. Dufty finds Humphreys with speed there. It's a good push there. Hubner looking for it here. Down on the ground they go. Damien Cook with a good tackle. Help from Blake Laurie there. Does Blake Laurie even do anything? I just see him walking around a lot. Over to the right now from the Dragons here. Kyle Flanagan with a good tackle. LeBlanc finds his way to Dufty. Oh, and this has got to be a try! Surely! The Rabbitohs take the lead! The cool kids are in! Take that, teacher! Take them all out for an excursion! There we go! There we done it! The South Sydney Rabbitohs are writing a page in the history books and in the joke books for the Dragons. Want to know a joke? Dragons vs. Kids. Matt Dufty passing it over to the left here, and it's a beautiful dummy from the South Sydney Rabbitohs centre to fly on through for them here. And it is Latrell Seagwaltz. Who needs Trell Mitchell? We have the better Trell, they say. He doesn't even need to play fullback. And it looks like the centres are tearing it apart against the Dragons tonight. 16-12 now. And the Dragons trail here. Don't count yourselves out yet, Dragons. It's not done. But what a try for the Buddies. Apparently over 39 tries in the Queensland Cup for Latrell Seagwaltz. So he's come over from the Queensland Cup to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I wonder if they signed him because he's Trell. They need a new Trell. They need a Trell to fill in when Trell's gone so they can say Trell's playing. On the left here. And they missed the kick. They missed the kick the Bunnies. Oh, well, they still lead, but they're going to have to be careful because I don't know if they'll keep the Dragons to scoreless for the second half completely. If they can, good job to them, but I think they're going to need another in this. Very tough go, though. The Dragons did very well there to try and stop it, but they just couldn't. Man, Dragons get Cade Reed ready and drop Kyle. Oh, come on, I'm right? Poor Cade Reed, man. He smashes it last week in the trials for the Dragons. But it's painful to watch because you know that he's doomed to not get past Flanagan in the team. Like, it's just so painful to watch. It's like if Ivan kept picking Nathan if Nathan wasn't somewhat good. Rabbitohs now. Down to the right here. And you know what? I don't mind Kyle as a bloke. I've never seen a bad thing from him in that aspect. But I just feel like as a player, let's be honest with ourselves here, he'd absolutely destroy any of us in park footy, but and he'd probably dominate New South Wales Cup. He's kind of a limbo kind of player. I just don't think he's quite that rugby league first grade every week 5'8" when it comes to how he's playing at this moment. I think he needs to play to that level to earn that. Good high kick from the Dragons there, and it ends up going over. Oh, that's a terrible pass! And the Rabbitohs score again! Absolutely horrible! Why don't you just wrap it up and mail it to him? The envelope has been ripped and sealed, and it is 20-12. The Rabbitohs with the unthinkable, unstinkable. Another one. Maybe utility. Yeah, look, you know what? That's a good argument. Kyle Flanagan maybe as a utility. I didn't even mind Flano. Flano was a utility coming on from 9 and 5'8" at points, potentially. I think that I'd actually take that for Kyle Flanagan, right? Personally. As a 9 or utility, absolutely. But as a starting 80-minute 5'8", not with how he plays right now. Not with how he plays right now. Shout out to Bailey Bentley Harpe on a huge, huge moment here. Ridiculous stuff. Yeah, Jetty's got it right in the park. He's not a full-time 80-minute 7 or 6. Maybe you could argue 14 utility running around for 20 minutes, but not full 80-minute player. And from in front, Bentley Harpe gets the kick there. Dragons need to rally back and get themselves together after a very poor showing. 22-12. The second half, they haven't been able to keep the longevity. And you look at it here, Humphreys puts up a huge kick over to the Dragons. And he just, for now, he tries to pass it backwards, making a huge error because nobody was there. And that's a rookie mistake against the rookies. It's first tackle. Somebody needs to tell him. It's a mistake that can't be repeated. Right in front of the 10-meter line, you take the tackle, man, okay? Just take the tackle, all right? It's better than that. Better than that. Nobody's going to be behind you in that position. A bit of a brain explosion there from the poor young guy. And now the Rabbitohs running forward here into the line now. If you're enjoying the stream, remember to hit that like button and subscribe, legends. Aiming for 6K in the coming months ahead here. South Sydney Rabbitohs into the line. Get over to the 30 now. Short pass over to Duffy here. Duffy moving forward now. Also, feel free to drop a comment. We read every single one here on the channel, or at least try to. Kane says, I regret betting the Dragons. Mate, I almost regret tipping them too. My tipping has been great. Redekama season, you are a lucky one. 2 tries in 2 minutes for the Rabbitohs has absolutely sealed them a great lead here. Dragons receive the ball from the Rabbitohs now and move forward here. Still half an hour to go in this game. So there's room for change. All right, there's certainly room for change. A 10-point lead isn't the end of the world for the Dragons, but they should be doing much better here. I don't tip preseason, says Southstead. Fair enough, legend. Fair enough. I just think preseason's a fun little tipping thing to do sometimes, Gives us that little rush before the actual season ahead. But honestly, yeah, that's up to people. I don't tip at all. Fair enough, Jenny. You just want to enjoy the games, am I right? Because the sport itself is great without tipping. I'll tell you I'll tell you what, I only do predictions. I don't actually put proper, tipping into it. I tell you who I think's going to win, and we see if they win. Down the Dragons here, 65 meters gained, good high kick in the air here from them, and Duffy keeps composure under it now and manages to get it. Humphreys, now over to the right now, in and around there, past the 10-meter line. Come on, Dragons, rally back, says Cade. That's it, says Jaddy Kidd. That's it, bro, indeed. Kevin Walters is talking apparently on Fox League. Thank goodness I don't have the volume up. All right, over to the right here. Ash moving forward now. And now, I lied earlier, exactly half an hour to go, as on the Dragons logo, they run past the 30-meter line here. So our Sydney Rabbitohs keep moving with it here. Duffy Monroe's replacement. Mate, Duffy's doing decent here. Didn't you tip nuts? You just think we don't talk about it. We don't talk about the fact that I tipped nuts. We don't speak of that moment. That was one of the most dreadful games I have ever watched from a team. We do not speak of it. And it doesn't help that being such a pro Dylan Brown guy, he didn't do a lot of good at moments in that game. But I think he knows that too. Got to be better in the actual season ahead. Moses Sully now, almost around it here. Clint Gufferson is on the bench. That's Damien Cook that's got the ball. Damien Cook passes the ball to Couchman now. 1.3 million, good spending by Knights. Mate, look, I can't say everything he's ever said to me because I'm confidential with that. But, mate, like, the money was a huge factor in that. Like, Para wasn't going to be able to offer that much. Like, if he had a choice, would be playing for Para between the two. But he did have a choice. He just, if he had a choice and he got the same money from both, he'd be playing for Para. That's what I'm saying, essentially, with my muddled up words, legends. It wasn't worth it. Knights have a decent... Can't really hate Knights. Yeah, you can't really hate the Newcastle Knights, but you don't have to love them either. What I don't like is vlogging in Newcastle, okay? Because might be a little bit of a hot take here, but I find that the crowd has been the most often dead when I've been in the Newcastle. Newcastle fans, feel free to prove me wrong and show your support passionately when I'm at the game when Para play Newcastle in Newcastle. But as it stands right now for me, I feel like it's a pretty dead crowd to be at when you're an away supporter. Over to the right, Kyle Flanagan. Stepping tippy toes. The Dragons are on that 10-meter line. We need some desperate defense from the Buddies to hold them out here. On their way through the middle, Cook finds Hamish Stewart. No, instead we're going to have a dime here from Couchman, who goes to the goal. Will Dragons score? It's all bets here. Hey, on the bright side, Penrith can't win the comp this season. On the very bright side, legend, Penrith can't win the comp this season. Okay, I'm going to say that to remind myself of some happier times as the Dragons have equalised. It's a try for them. It's 16-22 now, and the Dragons are down, but they're not out of it yet. A good kick and chase there for Luciano Leilua there. Could have been a try for Hamish Stewart, but they'll take it for Luciano Leilua there. I remember Leilua at the Tigers before even the Cowboys. He loved his stats. He was a great old player for them. A second rower that I think he's fallen under the radar the last few years, but like Luciano Leilua is a quality player, and he was worth all the hype when he was playing for the Tigers. Just unfortunately hasn't been able to find that exact form. Yeah, Dragons score makes me proud, St. George. Yeah, they score here at the Kiwi games. He only really looks good with Moses leading and the Kiwi games. That is true, Jaddy Kidd. I do look back, though, on the whole Dylan Brown drama that Para had with him where, and I don't like to bring it up often because he became a better person from it and improved a lot, and it was a simple mistake. But, I go back to that, and the form he was in before that happened was absolutely unbelievable stuff. And you know what? He was also attacking down the left edge. He is a left edge sort of half. His best games come from there. He can't do this Newcastle right edge. I don't think he can make a difference doing that. If the Knights actually give him what he's good at, surely it can check. That's where he improves. If you don't play to his strengths, Dylan Brown is about as useful as a cupcake. It's sweet, but it's not going to bring you much nutrition for the team, is it? He's great. He's great, but he needs to be given his strengths in order to flourish. He can only give so much. The Kiwi games, though, yeah. Well, the Kiwi games, once again, where was he attacking? To the left edge as a 5'8". Football Minecraft Edits says, hi, hello, Football Minecraft Edits. Welcome to the stream. Love your Ronaldo and Messi Minecraft profile picture. That's definitely unique. Marie jumps into the chat here and says, hey, bro, up the buddies. Hey, Marie, welcome to the stream. Up the buddies, legend. I hope you managed to hold on in this game here. 18-22. Dragons get the ball back here. Momentum on their side. Just one try separates these two teams. Hello, come on, St. George. How many tries do you think Alex Johnson will have at the end of his career? He has 210 now. I'm going to say that he's going to have roughly 230-something. That's my call for the end of his career. I think that he's just trying to fight for that moment. Who do you go for? I go for the Parramatta Eels legend. Now through the middle here. Hamish Stewart takes the tackle now. Over to the right. Atkinson with the short pass over to looks like Moses Sully, no, Lucia, Ambre Gula, third time's the charm there. Gula takes the tackle there. Gula down. Yeah, Dragons convert legend. I will name my future son Sean O'Sullivan, and if it's a girl, Shauna O'Sullivan. I love that. Do that, bro. Do it. Sean and Shauna O'Sullivan. Couldn't do it at the Fins. Probably not, Jenny Kim. St. George got no chance tonight. Our defense is too good. Marie, I've been really impressed with your defense tonight, considering that this is a bunch of kids playing them. Good stuff, legend. Over around to the left here. South Sydney Rabbitohs keep moving with it. Get past the halfway line here. They keep moving. I was on other streams. You are explaining it so much more. That deserves a sub. Appreciate it, Football Minecraft Edits. Chasing 6K at least this year. Every sub is appreciated from you guys. We have a great community here on the channel, and I'm very proud to have it, Thank you very much for that, man. Great rookies coming through, says Marie. Exactly. Brilliant rookies, actually. High kick in the air. Bloody South on. I've got to interrupt myself for a second. Bloody South chasing it, and oh, goodness. How the Dragons have managed to collect that one just about there. And there we done, Nabbit here. Collected there on the 20-meter line here. Just stepping forward now. One other stream not naming was talking politics almost straight out. You serious, Jenny King? Politics? Jesus, man. No. We don't go all about that stuff here. I don't care what your politics are here, all right? We're just going firm on the rugby league side of things, enjoying the game, talking about it. You're going to know exactly who scored at points, exactly what rookies are getting and all that good stuff, all right? TJC's going to keep loyalty is in that, all right? I got one job to do for you, and I got to do it right, too. Full on. Bulldogs are currently second on preseason ladder. And here we go. High kick in the air here, too, legends. Who do you reckon will win the grand final in 2026, says Marie. Oh, Parramatta Eels, obviously. Duffy with the counter-attack. Obviously, the Parramatta Eels, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's totally not going to be Brizzy again or the Panthers or the Storm. South Sydney Rabbitohs now gain about 10 metres here. 45 metres out from their own try line. We're going over to the right here. Ashton moves forward here. Ashton Ward on the ground now. Held halfway. Third tackle. 50% of the way through the set. Almost 50% of the way through the second half now here in this one here. And onto the field comes number 26 for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, just taking a tackle there. Let's shout out him since we probably won't see him for a while. Tyson Bukosi, there you go. Now over to the right here, very high tackle in the air here. And the Dragons under heavy pressure. It was a good speedy run from William Afalo, but he couldn't quite catch him there despite the efforts from him and Jordy Mazzone. From a fan perspective, South, but realistically, Storm or Brisbane. Exactly, man. You got to go with your team, but realistically, nah. Well, we got paid house now in 2027. Don't get me started on the fact that you've got Hakeem Haas in your team. Like, seriously, that's a insane addition that came out of nowhere for you. And I'm relieved for it because it meant as an Eels fan, I didn't have to hear about Zach Lomax nonstop. Who's winning this match? Says football match. Who's winning this match? You know what? Bold take. Rabbitohs will hold on. Rabbitohs will hold on, get one more and win it. Bold call. Bold call. I tipped the Dragons at the start, and technically my tip is wrong, and I stand by that. But I think the Rabbitohs will win. Down the left here. He keeps moving. Bailey Bentley Harpy. They're not catching him. They're not catching him. Kyle Flanagan of all players had to catch him now. And he's on the halfway line now. Timu Latrell down the middle now. Timu Latrell through the middle here and held back here. I think the Dragons to rally it. The expert to say it. Exactly, man. Exactly. I think the Dragons to rally to win, says Cade Mills. We'll see. Me versus Cade, legends. What do you think? Me versus Cade. Who's going to be correct? Down to the right now. Beautiful pass to Ashton Ward now. Marie jumping in with the glory. Glory to South Sydney. We don't seem to have many people going for glory to Dragons in the chat, do we? We got a lot of glory to South Sydney. Your opinion, Bailey Bentley Harpe? My opinion, Bailey Bentley Harpe. I think he's an all right winger, legend. I feel like he's been a bit unlucky at times with his fitness, but when he's fully fit, decent player. Could this be a try for Bailey Bentley Harpe? No, the Dragons managed to defend that one just about there. And the Rabbitohs won't be able to score what could literally be a winner with how this game's gone. This is the kind of game where I never tried. If the Dragons score again, right, it doesn't even seal it for me. If the Rabbitohs score again, it doesn't seal it for me. Everything is just insane in this game here today. Here, you know, I haven't seen enough of Bentley Harpy to say that he's like the one of my faves from that under level, but. What I will say about Bailey Bentley Harpy is that I do rate him as an average winger, you know, and I do think that if he just if he could keep his fitness fully all the way through, he'd be a top-notch one. For me personally, when he's at his best, he's a brilliant backup for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Young Trell is my cousin, says Marie. Really? Your cousin? That's pretty cool. Latrell Sigwalt. Hey, you know what? Your cousin is a pretty good kicker. He's a pretty good conversion. Exactly. Well, that's another thing about Bentley Harpe. He's a kicker that's a winger. You just don't see that as much. What, Ruben Garrick? Ruben Garrick's more of a setter. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Ruben Garrick, you know, you got there as well. Taking a tackle here, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Geordie Mazzone there takes the kick. My stepdad knows Matty McKenzie. That's pretty cool, legend. Thank God Dragons held on, says Cade. Thank God, but they still need to find themselves a try soon, legend, as the South Sydney Rabbitohs have just won themselves a penalty on the 10-metre line here. Jamie Humphreys, no, Ashton actually to take it here, actually. Ashton Ward to take it. Ashton Ward takes it, and they're going to get it on roughly the 30-metre line here. Just played in the Aboriginal knockout with him. Oh, did you, legend? How was that? That must have been fun to do, knowing that he's also playing now on a televised box league game. It's pretty sick, I can imagine. Asako is a winger and goal kicks. True, there's Asako as well. But I tell you what, they're more so halves and fullbacks and arguably even hookers, you know. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. And setters, like, it's the less common position of the positions for them here. Will Dragon... Also, I don't think Asako goal kicks really well lately. Will Dragons equalise at legend? I could see a world where they equalise, but I'm still iffy about who's going to win at legend. I don't think it's fair on me to be able to give you a direct answer to that here. Over to the left side here. High kick in the air for another try for the Rabbitohs. It could be it. That could be just what the doctor ordered. South Sydney. That is all. Flying through. The referee is going to go up as no try. But the fans will be praying for this. If you're a Dragons fan, you're praying for the disallowed try. If you're a Rabbitohs fan, you're praying for the try that wins you the game potentially. Lachlan Hubner. Lachlan Hubner for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The hubby with the tubby. He's got it. The question is, though, did Latrell knock it on into the Dragon beforehand? Because there's a huge mess with the arms. If he does that, then it doesn't matter. Hubner will not have a try here today. So there you go. Honor it. Up the buddy. So kind of 50-50, mate. Come on, please be no try. Says Cade Mills here. And the call will be no try. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Lachlan Hubner. No try for you. Up the buddies. Told you. Green, red. Green, red. Yeah. Good to see the support there. Buddies, up the buddies. Nah, they've disallowed it, Legend. They've just disallowed it. Yeah, knock on from Latrell. Down to the left here, Tuapolotu now runs forward now. 18 minutes gone by in it here, 22-18 here. Tuapolotu with speed now here. Tuapolotu held out there by the South Sydney Rabbitohs. We go to the left now, and we speed Luciano Leilua. He scored a try earlier, looks for it here. Luciano Leilua held on the 40-metre line now. We try to find Kyle Flanagan. Kyle Flanagan goes over to King Togia here. King Togia now finds the pass over to Tuapolotu now. And on the halfway line, 2 more tackles left in the set here. Here we go. I will wait. Charlie Falzon in the chat says, up the Rabbitohs there. Good to see a lot of buddy support for them there. Nice to see it going around. Redakama says, Rabbitohs, how long left? 17 minutes to go on the clock as it stands, Legend. 17 minutes to go. I repeat, 17 to go. Latrell with good speed there. Needed a good tackle there from Loco Pacific Tonga and Emre Gula. And now the South Sydney Rabbitohs over to the middle here. Honestly, it's at a point where if we don't see a try in the next 7 minutes, next try wins. Legitimately, it's at that point. And Hubner taking a moment to get up here. It was a rough tackle on him there. And the referee is actually going to say that it's a error from the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and the Dragons are going to get the ball. Here we go. St. George Illawarra Dragons with the ball. 16 minutes and 35 seconds to go on the clock on the 20-metre line of the South Sydney Rabbitohs' side here. For those who can't see the game, the Dragons are attacking from the left of your screen towards the right to score. Rabbitohs, vice versa. Rabbitohs get a good tackle there on Pacific Tonga, and through to the left here, King Tonga with a run. He barely gets stopped there here. The Rabbitohs will go from 17th to 16th for paid ass. Honestly, goated comment right there, Redakama. And the Dragons here, that we could see a breakaway. And collected there by Celestia Tata. Wait. Hang on, the ref's not going to let them run with it, actually. We're going up to the bunker here. We got a captain's challenge on our hands, it looks like, here between the two. Referee making his words heard here. Bundaberg captain's challenge, as they say there. We're going to call that the TJC captain's challenge. Are they looking for strip, the Dragons, maybe? Is that... Because it's not telling us on Fox League who exactly is challenging. Marie says, come on, buddies. Not Latrell Mitchell, another Latrell. Yeah, it's a different Latrell, Liam Eaps. Another Latrell. Dragons have a good chance to equalize it. A great chance, Legend here. But challenge is unsuccessful for the Rabbitohs. Seems like Rabbitohs were challenging the ruling that it was a strip. So, yeah, no challenge for Rabbitohs now. Dragons have a full set in front, and Buddies don't have a challenge anymore. 15 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock left now here. Buddies are mediocre at best. People are hyping them up too much, says Redakama. Rabbitohs go to first as football. If Latrell Mitchell were playing, it would be 40-0. Probably football, Minecraft. Latrell Mitchell is an insane player, but he did also be in a cast after it, knowing his luck. Don't worry, I can't talk. Mitchell Moses does the same all the time. Now Emre Gula down the middle here. Gula held back by Arthur. And then to the right, Flanagan serving it, which is what... Mate, the way he serves it, he should literally just be 14 and play hooker at times. Like, seriously, Kyle. Kyle Flanagan to the left now. Atkinson finds Couchman now. Couchman forward here. Couchman moves with it. Couchman on the ground now. Couchman takes the tackle here. Flanagan over to Ilias. Ilias takes the kick here and hit out of play there by the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Great defense there from them to manage to stop the play and not concede in this one here. 15 minutes on the clock to go, Legends. And then we'll be wrapped up with the Charity Shield and find out who our champions are in this one here. Absolutely brilliant hit out by Jay Kirk to defend. I haven't seen the team list, but for reserve grade buddies beating first grade Dragons, yes, Renakawa. The team list for the Rabbitohs. I will read the Rabbitohs team list before I read the Dragons team list, all right? Just so you get an example. Short kickoff, bounces 10 meters, Rabbitohs, Matt Duffy. Wait a second, legends. Wait a second, Duffy on the run. Once Duffy's tackled, yeah. Matthew Duffy at fullback, Bailey Bentley Harpe, Geordie Mazzone, Latrell Sewell, Talona Penatati, Ashton Ward, Jonah Glover, Alastair, Peter Babazule, Lachlan Hubner, and Bronson Garlick are probably the most, Jamie Humphries to Mitch Toller. Those are the most senior players in the team legend. Now look at the Dragons here. Gufferson, Tuapolotu, Moses, Barley, 2, Kyle Flanagan, Atkinson, Emre Gula, Cook, Couchman, Luciano Leilua, Sewer, and Sele. Absolutely ridiculous. On third tackle now, Rabbitohs held on the 30 here and just running short. There's the lock there. Bronson Garlick gets it off to Matthew Humphries there. That's right, we have 2 Humphries on the field. Matthew and, of course, the one we all know, Jamie. High kick in the air here, Rabbitohs, Dragons. Running around the edge here is Tyrell Sloan there going alone here. And Sloan gets caught 15 meters out. 2 with a broken jaw, yeah. Exactly. Jenny's got a point there. Glover's off as well with an injury. So they don't even have Glover on the field right now. It is embarrassing. Dragons are getting the boat spoon this year. Honestly, I stand by the fact that it is hard for you not to tip the Dragons to finish down the bottom of the ladder. And if you don't see the signs of it, then what are you doing? Terrible pass from the Dragons! And from nowhere, the Bunnies have another try! And the Dragons have made it a lot tougher for them to come back in this one. It's a try, but not Bailey Bentley Harpe, but his other winger, Geordie Mazzone. His hips don't lie as he flies on over. We were trying to make the fans cry with both joy and sadness. 26-18. An absolutely horrendous pass there from King Tagia. Sloan never went for it. And he speeds away for an easy try for the Rabbitohs. And he marks his place in preseason event history. Who scored number 5 for the South Sydney Rabbitohs legend, Geordie Mazzone. In his Mazzone. Poor American's got to watch the Dragons. I know. They've got to watch the Dragons play. Absolutely terrible stuff, man. I think they're going to have a tough time over there having to watch them. Another terrible pass that goes begging. Tough night for the Dragons, rest in peace. Extremely tough night. I don't think it gets tougher than this in preseason for them here. Nail in the coffin, but they deserve to lose anyways. Exactly. They deserve to lose just based on the basis of the names. Dragons do not deserve anything from this game with how they've played. And once again, it's a 10-point lead with 10 minutes to go. It's all 10s across the board here, except if you're a Dragon, which would be more like a 2 out of 10. No way Vegas is bringing over the Knights and the Dragons. Yeah, that's right. Preseason, they're bringing over Knights and Dragons. Knights and Dragons. Oh, feels disgusting watching this, doesn't it? Game over, says Marie Button, celebrating like a madman for their team. Man, I'm even more disappointed, says Cade. It's okay, Cade. You'll survive, legend. Don't worry. TJC's got you back. South Sydney Rabbitohs down. Over to the right here. Dragons, they're going to have to keep their heads up. They're the senior team. They're the team that should have all the advantages in this one. They should be the ones lifting themselves up and thinking about this more carefully. He's going to put another nail in the coffin and going to crawl down to the northern end, says South Student in the chat here. Humphries to Duffy, knock on by the Rabbitohs. This is just what the Dragons wanted. A knock on from the Rabbitohs. It's not a good sign that none of the Dragons could even pick up the ball after the play stopped, but this is the last chance, I think, that will be there for the Dragons to properly get this going here. They've got pretty much exactly 10 minutes to go now. And it was an awkward pass from Duffy there, and I don't really blame Kirk much for not being able to collect that one there. Dragons need a miracle to tie it. Yeah, over to the left here. Atkins from the Dragons, from the Sharks to the Dragons, from the Shire to here. Over to the right now. Finds the short pass now. And just pushing forward here, Pacifici Tonga just goes down to the ground there. Kyle Flanagan with the service to make you nervous. Goes to Emre Gula. Emre Gula now on the ground. Tackle 10 metres out from the line. 2 tackles left here. Couchman offloads back. Kyle Flanagan. Did he lose that into the buddy? Did he lose that into the buddy? The referee is going to rule that he did. Dragons, it might be worth a challenge here, to be honest with you, if he did or not. Kyle Flanagan doesn't seem to want to. Kyle Flanagan seems to think that he did drop that. All right. Tough luck. Tough spaghetti noodles for them. Flanagan's playing dummy half. Yeah, well, Flanagan's a better dummy half than he is. Bro, Flanagan's way better as a hooker than he is a 5'8", to be honest with you, man, in my opinion. That might be a hot take, but that's my opinion. I personally think Flanagan offers a 14. Playing a brief hooker role for 20 minutes at some points in the game is his best utilization in a first-grade side. Look at that. It's the real trail watching on the sideline with all the other Rabbitohs stars not playing today. First tackle now. Rabbitohs over to the right here. They keep pushing with it. 8 minutes on the clock to go now. South Sydney with a brilliant showing tonight. Something that very few would have expected of them. I'll tell you what, the amount of people definitely in our chat, including myself, that completely wrote off the Rabbitohs is mind-boggling with what they've done here tonight. I think this might be the game that ruins tipping weeks for a lot of people. Jamie Humphries, 36 metres gained, 5th tackle, high in the air there. And that was almost a knock-on for Sloan here. Tyrell Sloan goes alone, though, and smashes in here. I remember there were links of Tyrell Sloan to both the South Sydney Rabbitohs, in particular the Parramatta Eels, but mostly the South Sydney Rabbitohs at one point during the off-season that never eventuated. We go to the left now. They push forward here, the Dragons. Let's go, buddies, says Football Minecraft in the chat here. I want Burton to play in Vegas, but at the same time, I don't. There might be NFL scouts over there. Fair enough, Legend. Can you check who tipped in the poll? Of course I can, Legend, as the Dragons run down the right here. 47 votes on the poll here. 62% of you have voted for the Rabbitohs to win this one. 38% Dragons. Good job, guys. You bounced back into tipping the buddies. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that are probably going to have had a wrong tipping week after this. I have no doubt about that in my mind here. Flanagan ever joined Souths, we're doomed. Doomed, Souths, dude. Doomed. Dragons need 2 quick tries. Very quick tries, Cade Mills. Rabbitohs get the ball back on first tackle here. 6.5 minutes to go. The nerves are real here. And once we've wrapped up this stream, let's remember tomorrow we have a couple things. We have, I believe, we have the Parramatta Eels versus the Sharkies, which is going to be legendary in itself. But then on top of that, we're also going to be having the Maori All-Stars versus the Indigenous All-Stars, where we'll be supporting the Maori All-Stars in that one. We'll be doing both those games tomorrow, Legends. All-Stars and Parramatta Eels and Cronulla. Going to be an absolutely legendary time all around in that one. I hope you all enjoy when that comes about there. And then, of course, don't forget, while we've got the week 3 preseason streams as well, we've also got the World Club Challenge at 6:30 a.m. on Friday, the 20th of February. So tune into that if you can. Who's winning? Rabbitohs 28-18 at the moment, Legend. 4th tackle now for the Dragons on the halfway line. Honestly, at this point, just run it, guys. If you're the Dragons, just run it. Just run it. You got nothing to lose. What are you doing? What are you doing? High kick in the air here from Cade. That is actually a beautiful kick to the buddies. Beautiful there from the Dragons Junior. That's got to be Reed. Do you not have Kayo? I have Kayo, Legend. I have Kayo South, dude. He might not have Kayo, and that's fine, Legend. I didn't own Kayo until I started doing what I'm doing. It just wasn't, it's definitely not Kayo, Foxtel, they can be expensive prices if you don't watch every game. You know, if you only watch the one game, it can be quite expensive for people living on a budget. But when you're watching every game, it's well worth its money. Yeah. Here we go. Over through the middle now. 40 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock here. LeBlanc goes over to Humphreys here. Humphreys now moving forward. Humphreys held on the ground. Oh, Para versus Sharks. You mean Para's winning that, Legend. And Para should win well based on the lineups named. If Para don't win well, they haven't played to their best ability. And I'll be honest about that if we only win by a try or something, or even if we lose, you know. I just got to be honest about that. I say that as a big fan. Rabbitohs now. Backwards. Good offload there. If they could score here, no, the Rabbitohs knock it on. They're running out of time to make the difference in this one, the Dragons. They need a huge run from somewhere. I mean, they are the team that nearly came back from a nearly 20-point plus, I think, lead that Para had over them. Are you going to the Para game? Yes, okay. No, I'm not going to the Para game between Para and Sharks. I will be going to the Roosters game at Gosford, though, in week 3, which means that for the week 3 streams, Legends, we will not be doing the games that fall on the same day as that. So I'll actually check that out to give you an advance on it. We'll be doing Warriors, Dolphins, and Tigers, Panthers, but we won't be doing the 3 games on the Saturday because I'll be doing the middle game, Roosters, Para. I'll be at that game. And then we'll stream Rabbitohs Manly, which will be the last preseason game before the actual season starts. We'll also be looking to get some videos going during that time. We need Dragons to score soon. Dragons with a sidestep. Dragons flying through 10-meter line. We have a try. Game on in the dying embers of the game. Fire is still ready to be lit. It's a try for the Dragons again here in this one. And it's 22-28. With a kick to come. The game isn't over yet. The game isn't over yet. Absolutely brilliant there from the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Can you believe it? My goodness. The try scorer is Matthew Fiagi. And he's got it beautifully slotted in. Yeah. He got it. There was nearly a bobble, but he keeps hands on it, I reckon. It's a try with just 3 minutes and 8 seconds on the clock here. Is there golden point in Charity Shield games? Mate, I don't know if I've witnessed it to know. Where is the kick from? The far right. The far right, Legend. The very far right corner. Kyle Flanagan taking the kick. He's got it. He's got it. It's just a try that separates these two teams with 2.5 minutes to go. It is the Rabbitohs to lose as the Dragons chase back a huge advantage the Rabbitohs had. And the Adults might just manage to get it from the gutter and retrieve it. Football Minecraft edits. No deal. Unfortunately, they have not missed it. South Sydney Rabbitohs now take the kick. And the Dragons get it. Here we go. He got the goal, Legend. He got the goal. It's just a try difference between the two. It's just a try difference between the two. He kicked the goal. South Sydney Rabbitohs, if I were you, I'd just want to hold on for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes and 30 seconds of holding. Can you do it? Over to Kane Reid, the difference maker today for them. Into the line he goes. The pressure could not be higher in the Charity Shield for them. Emre Gula now. Emre Gula goes into the ground now. Gula held. Kyle Flanagan looks for the pass now. Goes to the left side here. Almost around now, looking for the run, 40-meter line now. Tyrell Sloan held, fifth tackle, 36 meters game. That's one of the last ones they'll do in this. Oh, that is a long-ass kick. That is a long-ass kick, but the Rabbitohs managed to get it. Ends up in the hands of Duffy. Come on, South's glory, glory to South Sydney. This is eFootball. Dragons are not going quietly. They are not Legend. This is a real fight on our hands here. The South Sydney Rabbitohs cannot let the Dragons fire on up like this. If they get a converted try, they win. Yes, no. If they get a converted try, they win, Legend. They just straight up win. If the Dragons get a converted try, they straight up win. If the Rabbitohs even get a try, they win. South Sydney Rabbitohs take the tackle, and they'll just be looking to play out the clock, hopefully get something in their favour here. Fourth tackle now, Rabbitohs. It's on to the fifth. We're entering the final minute of the game. Rabbitohs will just clear it here. It's a very low, deep kick, actually, from the Dragons here. A long pass. They've got to try something special here with 55 seconds on the clock here. Through the middle now. They're almost away here. That was a brilliant push through the line there from the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Tyrell Sloan. Sloan going alone. Couldn't go. Score Dragons, says Cade. How long last? 40 seconds, Legend. We'll be going down by seconds. Every 10 seconds, we'll mention it here. On the ground now, the Rabbitohs. 30 seconds to go now, Legends. 30 seconds. Go to Kyle Flanagan. Short pass to the left here. It's fourth tackle. This is surely the last set the Dragons get in this game here. Over to the left now. Keeps going. Good far pass there. Ryan Hutchinson finds it. And Couchman will be sitting on the Couchman after this. He's tackled. One more tackle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they short kick. Rabbitohs collects. And they've won it. Despite the efforts of the Dragons, the South Sydney Rabbitohs kids have come out on top in the game of the week here at none other than Wynn Stadium in the Gong. The South Sydney Rabbitohs have bested the Dragons 28-24. And the Dragons were their own worst enemy today, handing tries. 2 tries practically handed to the Rabbitohs on a silver platter. Was there a bit of luck in it? Absolutely. Do you sometimes need a bit of luck in games? That's also true. Either way, congratulations to the Dragons. An absolutely massive win here. It's been a brilliant day of streaming for us. I hope you enjoyed the game. Remember to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, as we'll be doing most games this year on it as well. Just not most days where Para's playing in the season, because I'll be at the actual games. Absolutely incredible stuff. Celebrate all around here. Thanks for watching, Legends. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Congratulations to the Dragon Rabbits on that. That was brilliant. Congratulations to the Rabbitohs on a huge one. Wow. Just wow.